everyone. I just want to welcome you to my Developing Sprint Hurdlers from Beginner to Elite class. I've been coaching for about 16 years. I've coached everywhere from youth to college. I've allowed kids to get to the national meet for USATF, AAU. I've helped kids win league in youth, in high school, in college. I've also had a few national ranked athletes. I've had kids that have made it to the state meet. I hope that the information that I give you in this class will allow you to do the same thing with your hurdlers. So first things first, as a coach who's going to be coaching kids who may be beginner, even if they're elite, there are a few things that you must have in order to coach those kids. The first thing you will need is a measuring wheel. The reason you'll need the measuring wheel is because you may be on a track that does not have all of the spacings for the younger kids. They obviously have them for the older kids and the elite athletes, but for the younger kids, they may not have them. So you need that measuring wheel because it'll help you to know where the distances are for each hurdle. The second thing you would need is some banana hurdles. Now, these banana hurdles can be anywhere from 6 inches to 24 inches. The reason you'll need those is because a lot of the drills that you will start to learn or do, you can do over those banana hurdles. Give the kids more confidence, allow them to be more quick, to work on their posture, etc. The third thing you will need are hurdles that are collapsible or hurdles that can drop lower than 30 inches. The reason you're going to need that is because, again, once the kids start to progress from the banana hurdles to the actual hurdles, you want to make sure that their confidence is high enough to where they can do what you're expecting them to do over the hurdle. And the fourth thing you will need are some resistance bands. Now, the bands that I use are called gym bands. The reason you will need those is for a lot of the strengthening things that at least I have my athletes do, and you can try to implement that in your practice as well. Before we get into the distances, it's important to know the markings for each hurdle race. I have actually seen races firsthand where this actually happened because hurdles were placed on the wrong markings. Now, typically for the younger hurdle races, 80-meter hurdles, there's some tracks that may not have those markings on the track, but for the 100, 110, 300, and 400-meter hurdles, you can locate them. This is also why having a measuring wheel is very important. Now, the markings are pretty simple. They usually have arrows, but if they don't have arrows, they'll have these little marks that you see here. The yellow is usually for the 100 hurdles. The blue is usually the 110 hurdles. You'll have a green for the 400, and then you'll have a white for the 300. So now for the distances of each hurdle race. First, for the 80-meter hurdles, a hurdler can actually start hurdling at age 11 at the youth circuit. In the 80-meter hurdle race, there are 8 hurdles. They are 30 inches high. From start to hurdle 1, it's about 12 meters. Hurdle 2 to hurdle 8, it is 7.5 meters. From hurdle 8 to the finish line, it's 15.5 meters. For the 200 hurdles, it is the same idea. Kids 11 and 12 can run the 200 hurdles. There are 5 hurdles in the 200 hurdle race. They are 30 inches, whether it's boys or girls. From start to hurdle 1, it's 20 meters. From hurdle 2 to hurdle 5, it is 35 meters apart. And from hurdle 5 to the finish line, it's a 40-meter sprint. The 100-meter hurdles. Now, there are a few boys that will run the 100, but it's usually girls, high school girls, collegiate women, and professional women. Only boys at the bottom youth level will run this particular race of the 100 hurdles. The hurdles are 30 inches high. From start to hurdle 1, it is 13 meters. From hurdle 2 to hurdle 10, it is 8 meters apart. And from hurdle 10 to the finish line, it is 15 meters. Only boys at the top youth level, high school girls, collegiate women, and professional women will run this version of the 100 hurdles. The hurdles are 33 inches high. From start to hurdle 1, it is 13 meters. From hurdle 2 to hurdle 10, it is 8.5 meters. And from hurdle 10 to the finish line, it is 10.5 meters. The 110 hurdles. Now, the 110 hurdles are for high school boys, collegiate, and professional males. For high school boys, the 110 hurdles are 39 inches high. For collegiate and professional males, they are 42 inches high. From start to hurdle 1, it is 13.72 meters. From hurdle 2 to hurdle 10, it is 9.14 meters apart. And from hurdle 10 to the finish line, it is 14.02 meters. The 300 hurdles. Now, the 300 hurdles are only ran in high school by girls and boys. The distances of the 300 hurdles are the same for girls and boys. So from start to hurdle 1, it is 45 meters. From hurdle 2 to hurdle 8, it is 35 meters. And from hurdle 8 to the finish line, it is 10 meters. The only difference between the girls and the boys is the girls run at 30 inches high and the boys run at 36 inches high. And finally, the 400 hurdles. The 400 hurdles can be run by high school boys and girls at the national level, collegiate and professional men and women. Just like the 300 hurdles, the heights of the men's and women's hurdles are 30 inches for women, 36 for men. From hurdle 2 to hurdle 10, it is 35 meters apart, and from hurdle 10 to the finish line, it is a 40-meter sprint. How to identify hurdlers. So with me, per se, I was actually identified because I was stretching. So that's something that you can do. Look at a kid that, has nice mobility in his hips. Hips are pretty open. That's a kid that you may want to try out. Like I said, I was stretching. My coach asked me if I wanted to try hurdles, and here you have it. So you can look that way. Another way is you want to set up some hurdles on grass. Once you discovered those kids, you're like, you know what? Maybe that kid can try it out. Set up some hurdles either on the track, preferably on the grass, especially if the younger kids, and just set up the hurdle as low as you can possibly go. Have the kid run over the hurdle. You're looking for a few things as that kid goes over the hurdle. Are they aggressive? Are they attacking the hurdle? Are they doing it with no fear? If you have that, then you progress. Increase the hurdle to another height and just have them keep going over it. Increase it. If they're a boy, go as high as you possibly can go. If it's a girl, don't go any higher than 33. If it's a younger girl, keep it at 30 inches. And a very important note, if you've ever gone to a track meet and you see the 100 meters, the heats, there's usually 1,000 heats, right? There's 1,000 heats of the 100. What you can do is take some of those kids who have decent speed but may not make a 100 final. Take some of those kids and teach them how to hurdle, and they may be really good hurdlers. One of my faster boys that I've ever coached, he ended up running 14-15 in high school. He was only an 11-2 sprinter. Now 11-2 is pretty good speed, but it's not fast enough to get him into a 100-meter final, especially in the league that we were in. So you teach that kid how to hurdle, he ends up being a state finalist at the California State meet. So take some of those kids that have decent speed but aren't that fast, teach them how to hurdle, and they could have a pretty good career in hurdling. So I'm going to give you first 4 points or 4 components of good hurdling. If you teach these 4 components every day in all of your drills, you will produce better hurdlers. The first component of good hurdling is a lead arm that punches through the hurdle and does not cross your body. So think of it like this. Pretend you have an imaginary line down your body. Whatever side your lead arm is on, you do not want your lead arm to cross that line, but you want it to push forward through the hurdle. So it doesn't matter if your arm is high, it doesn't matter if it comes forward, it doesn't matter if it's low, but as long as it does not cross that imaginary line in your body. Arms start to cross, that puts us in the danger zone. So you know for every action there's an opposite reaction. So if your arm crosses, opposite reaction is going to open up your arm, which will probably open up your shoulders and your hips, and your hurdling will be all bad. The second component of good hurdling is a lead leg that leads with the knee first. So what that means is when your hurdlers are coming into the hurdle and they go to take off into the hurdle, the first thing you should see is their knee ascend into the hurdle. This is a good lead leg. And you want to make sure that the knee crossbar because it's going to be easier for your hurdlers to clear the hurdle. If the leg swings, we're going to sit on top of the hurdle. We don't want that. We want to stay tall. So make sure that you emphasize in every drill to lead with the knee. The third component of good hurdling is a trail leg that's high, tight to the body, and has a complete rotation back into sprint mechanics. So if you think about it like this, when the trail leg comes off the ground, it should already be tight to the body. It should come high, tight, all the way forward, and then back into sprinting position. We don't want a trail leg that gets away from our body or just hangs behind us, because that's going to force us to run slower. We're going to hit hurdles, we may fall. So make sure that you teach your kids that the trail leg needs to be high, tight to the body, complete the rotation all the way forward before it comes down. And then the final component of good hurdling, it just consists of something that all sprinters should be able to do. It's having a dorsiflex toe. And I know at the youth level, you may want to say, point your toe to the sky, something that they can understand. So we want to make sure that your foot is dorsiflexed on your lead leg as well as your trail leg. So I'm going to show you a few drills that emphasize these four components. And the more you do these components, the better your hurdlers are going to be, the more confident they're going to become, the faster they're going to run. The first drill are trail leg circles. Now make sure that your athlete's foot isn't behind the hurdle and that they're not opening their hips to pull their leg over the hurdle. Correct that as soon as you see it. Make sure that their foot is in front of the hurdle, they're tall, their hips are forward, and their trail leg is coming high and tight all the way to the front. You also want to make sure that your athletes are performing these drills on both legs to get equal strength in both hips. The next drill is called wall drive. So what you're going to do is set up a hurdle in front of a wall or a fence, and you're going to drive into the hurdle, leading with your knee on your lead leg and your lead arm. You're also going to complete this drill on both legs. The emphasis of the rain dance is to drive the knee above the crossbar and then back to the track as quickly as possible. Also complete on both legs. Single leg walkovers, what you're going to do is stay tall. You're going to bring one leg all the way to the next hurdle, keeping your toe dorsiflexed, making sure that you're circulating that trail leg all the way back to the front and then to the track. Double leg walkovers, it's almost like you're hurdling, but you're walking over the hurdle. Lead with your knee, trail leg high and tight, all the way back to the track, toe dorsiflexed. Make sure that you complete these drills also on both legs. So lead with both, trail with both. March overs, you're just going to put a little skip over the side of the hurdle. You're going to drive your knee into your chest, take a little break, and then come right back in the opposite direction. If you have a large group, what you can do is have one side go down and then have them go in a circle and go to the other side. Just as I've been emphasizing in the past, make sure that you focus on the four components of all hurdling. So for this first drill, you want to make sure with the trail leg, you do not allow it to reach out in front of you. because that's bad. We want everything going down the track. So make sure that when your kid does this drill, their trail leg comes high and tight through and back underneath their body. The second thing is make sure when they lead into the hurdle that they're not barely driving their knee up. They want to segment this hurdle as if they're going over it. So they want to lead with the knee, high knee, to keep them forward. The third thing, make sure that their arms are not crossing their bodies. You know, once their arms cross, they're in the danger zone. So focus on them punching through the hurdle as they lead with the knee. And lastly, make sure that their toes are dorsiflexed on both legs, lead and trail. On these walking drills, make sure that you're focusing on the 4 components of great hurdling. Be active with your arms, and make sure that you complete these drills on both sides. Same idea with your lead leg. Lead with the knee, lead with the arm, step over the hurdle, and then get that foot back to the track. With the skipping drills, you still want to emphasize the 4 components. The only difference is it's a little more rhythmic, but it's the same idea. Execute, execute, execute.